Welcome to The Social Playbook, a podcast made for people starting their career in social media. My name is Michael Deas. I've been behind the scenes of some of the biggest brands executing on reactionary content, graphic and video editing, and campaign management. Today I have Luke Panosian on the show. Luke is the Senior Community Manager at PrizePicks, one of the largest daily fantasy sports apps. Today, we dive into what community management is and how brands can take advantage of it. Luke shares the tools he uses to build a 600,000 member community and tips on getting in the world of social media. Please welcome Luke Panosian. Welcome to The Social Playbook. I'm Michael. I'm a social media manager at CBT News. I've worked with dozens of brands behind the scenes with social media. This is Luke.
Hello.
Welcome to the show, Luke.
Thanks, Michael.
Luke is the senior community manager at PrizePicks, one of the largest daily fantasy sports apps, and he oversees the largest award-winning DFS sports Discord in the world. This has over 600,000 active members and has 2 million monthly messages. Before that, you were at Ubisoft as a social media manager in charge of marketing titles like Rainbow Six Siege, Prince of Persia, and Assassin's Creed. So how do you handle all that?
A lot of organization, and really good what we like to call SOPs, so standard operating procedures. So the way Ubisoft always ran, it was you were either in a 6-month cycle or 12-month cycle. So you had tons of leeway and heads up. Now, delays, that was a dime a dozen, but we were always over-prepared, and that was the best case.
Yeah. So, if you want to dive into some of your background, some more, maybe what you do at PrizePicks and like what community management looks like over there.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about my background. So I'm a Georgia native, Atlanta specifically. Went to school at Georgia Southern, studied communications there, and that's really where I got exposed to something called Esports. And the reason I mention Esports is most of my career before being in PrizePicks was in the video game realm. So before Ubisoft, I was actually leading sales, channel marketing for a company called Control Freak. That is a thumbsticks accessory that is now acquired by SteelSeries, which then took me to Ubisoft, of course, which I assume most people know what Ubisoft is, but Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six Siege, Far Cry 6, which was actually the first game as a social media manager that I got to launch. Cool. Really exciting when you get to work with talent like Giancarlo Esposito. It makes it really easy to get engagements. And then, of course, now Giancarlo Esposito, he's a famous actor. He's Gus in Breaking Bad, for those that watch that show. And he's just a wonderful actor and talent to work with. So he did a lot of our marketing and got really engaged on the social media front. So it was really easy for us to market the game when you got talent that's down to do whatever.
For sure. Yeah, so what does PrizePicks look like on the community management front?
Yeah, great question. So community management, you could probably boil that down into 3 points or 3 pillars. So at PrizePicks, we obviously have the world's largest sports Discord, something that I do want to brag about a little bit. For sure. So we just hit 635,000 members.
That's insane.
And the growth is all organic. We don't market, we don't advertise our Discord at all. So it's something that has grown naturally as our brand and community has grown. The second pillar, right, is what we call our CM strategy. For those that are fans of PrizePicks, I'm sure you've seen us in the comments on your creator's favorite page, whether it's a brand, a funny video, you name it, we're there. And basically, we just always want to kind of like represent that we're on the couch, either enjoying the entertainment that you're enjoying the sports moments that you're enjoying, and we kind of consolidate that all into what we call CM or community management, where I think of it as a one-to-one touch point between us and either a specific member or somebody that is soon to be a member. And then our third pillar, right, is closing the loop, social listening. So we've built out a really cohesive feedback loop for us to be able to scrape all the noise, complaints, celebrations, excitements, and questions that our members have, whether it's on Discord or across social, consolidate that into a report, and then hopefully kick it back to whether our product managers, senior leadership, or even the creative team that's looking for insight.
Yeah, dang, that's pretty in depth. I don't think a lot of people realize how in depth community management actually is. I mean, it sounds like, you're just going to make a Discord or whatever, but there's layers to that. So a little bit of more context. Luke was actually my boss at PrizePicks, and we were doing a lot of the CMing part. So a lot of the stuff I'll probably have on the show and like display is some of my stuff, some of my colleagues that work there as well.
Got to include the magazine too.
Oh yeah, the magazine. I'll throw that up on the screen. But
do the Jason Tatum one for the record.
Yeah. I love the Jason Tatum stuff we did. A lot of people don't understand what social listening is, I think, when they're kind of going into social media. Can you break down that third pillar and like how you guys tackle it at PrizePicks?
Yeah, absolutely. I think social listening is something that everybody does naturally, right? Like whether it's growing a brand, whether it's growing a community, or whether it's just starting a business, right? You want to know what other people think about your brand, business, or community. And so the way we define social listening is essentially a feedback loop specific to social media. And so we basically, utilize different tools and things like that to scrape the internet and consolidate all the wonderful comments and, things that people say about us, around us, about our partners, potential partners, and friends. And essentially we consolidate that into a pretty turnkey report, right? We've got a dynamic dashboard that we can kick out if needed. You can get really into the weeds when it comes to social listening or social intelligence, as a lot of people like to call it. But at the end of the day, it's essentially just taking the feedback and the noise and basically filtering that out to find exactly what you're looking for, whether it's feedback about a product, feedback about a partnership, feedback about a specific feature, and essentially making sure that you're able to turn that into actionable recommendations or insights for whoever is looking for it, right? So take product managers in general, right? You just unveiled a new app feature, right? You'd probably want to know how that app feature is performing for those that are using it. Well, typically, instead of going to forums or writing emails or going to the App Store and writing a review, people just go to social media nowadays, right?
Sure.
So it's really important to capture what people are saying because a lot of that has value. And it could be, the keys to unlocking whatever issue or problem or solution that you were looking for on the product side. So having a funnel from social media to that product manager, I think is really valuable and something that we've been able to unlock recently at PrizePicks.
So adding on top of that, the social listening part, like you got into a little bit of the variety of comments you get and just PrizePicks in general and like daily fantasy, it can get really toxic. How do you deal with that player feedback? I mean, just from like a community management perspective and like how do you interact with it too?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, if you are working in social in general, you got to develop or have thick skin because you got to understand or at least know to separate people's complaints or targeted attacks, so to speak, online, the keyboard warriors, as we like to call them, or the trolls, that they aren't attacking you as a person, they're attacking the brand. And so, one, you got to understand that sometimes it's just emotion, right? And somebody's just letting loose because, they had a lineup that was cooked. And it may have been SGA free throws, and instead of taking 30, he took 25, right? And you're thinking, they made a call or whatever. A lot of the times you just kind of look past that and you try and find the value in that. But I think when you're juggling those emotions, I think humor is actually a really great way to mitigate the negativity, right? Because you can be emotional, you can be highs and lows when it comes to watching a basketball game. I'm a sports fan myself. Most of my teams are in Detroit. So I know a thing or two about losing. And so how do you juggle that in your own life, right? Like sometimes you got to let loose. Sometimes you got to just, grit it out. And I think a lot of times when it comes to handling that emotion, I think channeling humor and also like telling the person that you're on the couch there mad too, right? Like we're the one part of the team that gets really excited when people win. And we're also kind of bummed that people lose because we want to see everybody celebrating, right? We want to see everybody cashing their lineups and loving the atmosphere that we can create at PrizePicks. But that's not always the case. And so how do we circumvent that? Well, we try to be funny, or we at least try to understand that we get your frustration and we're going to throw you a bonus lineup, right, with a surprise and delight. So we have certain strategies baked in, but primarily it's humor.
So obviously humor is a huge part of PrizePicks' strategy and their social media tactics. What, on top of that, what makes people engage repeatedly with a brand like PrizePicks other than all the other huge guys like Underdog, DraftKings? What makes you guys different?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I like that you alluded to a lot of people are starting to copy the playbook, not to drop the podcast name in the middle of the podcast, but people have definitely started to adopt what we like to call the PrizePicks playbook. And what that means is being everywhere all at once and being really, really funny. at the right time. And I think that's probably the most important thing. And so utilizing our game time team the way that we do, right? So hitting the moment when the moment happens instead of like, cooking up something the day after, right? That moment's lost. And I think that allows us to keep people coming back because there's games every night, right? And so whether you're a football fan, basketball fan, WNBA, you name it, right? There are opportunities for you to engage with us because we kind of, one, no ball, and two, we're watching all the games that you're watching. So, we're going to be there whether you're there or not. And so it creates kind of this just open door invite to come hang out with us during the games.
Yeah, for sure. It feels like you're having wings and fries on the couch.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. So what's your favorite campaign that you've done, or I guess you could say listening report maybe? I don't know. What kind of campaigns have you done over Discord or whatnot?
Yeah, I think, if we're going to talk social from a broad perspective, the Winner Stays campaign. Shout out Priya, who's our social media manager. It's one of her babies in terms of campaigns, but it's something that I think allows people to essentially get a badge, right, for doing something successful in the app. And it's a really cool way for then people to go brag about what Gabi they unlocked based on participation. And, we can talk about retention and stuff like that. It's great for that. But I think being able to go online and celebrate something with your friends and then have the brand immediately engage with that as well, I think is a very unique formula that we've just had a lot of success with. Discord-wise, I think the newest thing that we've really started to refocus on our Discord is actually leaning on our community members to help make content because we have the platform and they have the content. Why not just put the two together and let them rip, right?
Yeah, that UGC kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've actually, instead of hosting shows daily on our Discord, we've actually created a system for creators or partners or mods or resources in our Discord who have either a platform of themselves or a show of themselves, plug that right into our Discord and use our Discord to elevate themselves or be another platform for them to grow their audience. And so we've had a lot of success with that, so much so we've actually had Janae, who is a mod and resource in our Discord and leads a show now every Sunday. She actually just signed a partnership with PrizePicks.
That's awesome.
So she is now an exclusive PrizePicks partner, which is awesome, and that came directly through her engagement with our Discord, building up that show, having that success, and, her success is only starting, right, in terms of partnerships, but being able to kind of create a funnel for our members to also be rewarded and, see their community grow with our community, I think is a unique kind of formula that we've put together on Discord, and it's done really well. We're averaging over 20,000 views weekly on these shows, and they started from scratch. So seeing that number grow week over week has been really exciting.
That's crazy because, when you see as a community member, like you're seeing one of your other community members on stage and doing the thing, like that just like, it's got to be a great cycle for retention and like people see like your buddy doing it and then it's like, well, I got to contribute and whatnot. But speaking about the Discord, if a community management intern came in and accidentally clicked on the PrizePicks Discord and click delete, how would you guys rebuild that community?
Oh, that's a lofty question.
Yeah.
I think first and foremost, you just start from scratch. Obviously, we have a strategy and playbook that clearly works for us now. There's other competitors starting to get in the space with Discord, and they put a lot of promo behind the Discord. That's always a nice tool in your tool belt to use, but I think if you really want organic growth, I think you need to create a community that like focuses on the community aspect. And one of those things is the way that we have basically organized our Discord. So if we carry the sport, you can talk in a channel for that sport. Not every Discord, one, has the ability to do that. And two, you need to grow and build your mod team at the exact same time. It's not something that is like, hey, now we're big, let's go get mods. You need to have them in place at the start. And that's something that, Noel, our Discord lead, has done really well. He has a phenomenal relationship with all our mods. We have over 100. So obviously now it's a little hard to keep up with it, but, they were there since day one. And so there's that loyalty that's baked in. And, as they continue to grow as mods and go on to other positions and things like that, like we're still benefiting from that because they become recognized in the space. And then, they can go into other Discords, right. And recruit and things like that. But I think, the organization aspect of it and building that very clear outline, like, hey, this is a space for you guys. This isn't a space for us to just talk to you.
Yeah.
We very rarely do a lot of talking in our Discord unless it's something for them, right? Whether it's a promo, taco votings, and get them participating in things outside of Discord, I think is really important too. So I alluded to taco voting. So we do taco promos every Tuesday. Shout out Taco Tuesday. Yeah. And our Discord has the opportunity to decide what one of our tacos is. Like that's a lot of control for a brand to give to just the people. And I think that was definitely one of the big accelerators. So I'd probably lean into that a little bit more to just get them more involved early. And, hopefully we'd see the same amount of growth that we do today.
Mm-hmm. So for maybe a different brand that isn't like sports related in any kind of way, what does community look like outside of like a Discord? Like, how do you set up that playground, if you will, for your community, for your brand?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's really important for you to define what your community is. At PrizePicks, for us, it's like, we always say the ultimate group chat.
Yeah.
I'm sure all of us are in some form of group chat, and all those group chats probably have a little bit different purposes, right? You've got your family one, I've got one with the boys, right? The content I share in the boys, a little bit different than the content I share in the families. Sure. Sometimes they're the same, but you never know. So I think first and foremost, defining exactly what you want your community to be is really important. And then, on top of that, like community is just a collection of people, right, with a shared interest. Mm-hmm. So I think, whether you're a toothpaste brand, right, go find some people that care about teeth, right?
For sure.
Get their opinion. Elevate, right, dentists, right? And then I think if you're going to have some type of closed ecosystem like a Discord, right, you got to go join it to be in it. Mm-hmm. I think it's really important to make sure that everybody knows it's available, right? So that's something we've been blessed not to have to do at, PrizePicks because we have the size and the organic growth. But if you aren't talking about it, nobody else is going to talk about it. Yeah. So you got to, be involved and talk about it to kind of, really build that outside of Discord or anywhere, right? You can have a community in person. There's community events all the time. So you got to just be involved, not just build it and tell them to go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to curate it for sure. So winding down, what kind of tools do you use as a community manager? We used to use Sprout. Is there any other kind of tools you use? In that realm?
Yeah, social listening. So Sprout's a great social media behemoth in general. You can schedule posts, you can manage DMs, and then obviously they have the social listening. We also utilize Quid, which is kind of a mix of AI just on steroids. They literally, you whisper PrizePicks on the internet, it will find it.
That's crazy.
It's a really powerful tool, but some of the tools that we've been looking at recently are tools like Plot AI, a lot of UGC scraping. It's really cool that people like to share that they win lineups, but they don't always tag PrizePicks. And so, if you don't tag us, it's almost impossible for us to find just an image, right? So sourcing some of those new AI tools has been really, really popular. And we've seen some really cool ones, right? Where it's like, hey, if your logo's anywhere, we'll just pull it and conglomerate it and put it into like a nice little report for you. Wow. Or we can put it into a dashboard, right? Where you can immediately go comment and respond and CM on those posts that we typically wouldn't see unless, you just got lucky and the algorithm showed it to you.
True.
So those are probably the three that I think are most interested. But if you're talking just tools in general, definitely want to make sure it's within budget. It's something that has everything you need, not just a little bit, because then that's where you start to tic-tac, a little different tool here, a little different tool there. Next thing you know, you're spending $1 million on 50% of the stuff you use. So I think it's really important to also build a relationship with whatever that company is. So we're really fortunate to have some great success managers and customer success managers at Sprout who help us build listening reports. They help us build strategies, benchmarking. And so it's a relationship. It's not, hey, we just use this product and we make a ticket when we have issues. We have monthly calls, and it's a dynamic relationship between the two that I think really allow us to take the most advantage of that tool.
For sure. One of the last questions, what's your coolest experience that you've had working with PrizePicks?
Man, that is tough.
besides hanging out with the interns?
Yeah, I mean, the interns, that was great. It was my first time getting to lead such promising individuals like yourself. But also, it was a great learning opportunity for myself, right? To learn how I am as a manager and all of that. But I think probably our live community sweats. So this is something that's relatively new to PrizePicks, right? We aren't usually the ones hosting events, but our founder and previous CEO, Adam, loves the atmosphere that comes with sweating out a lineup, right? Or a game or an outcome of any type. And basically bottling up that energy and sticking it in a room and then capturing content around that is something that is a huge passion for him and something that he's really impassioned our new senior director of events to do. I've been blessed to lead the reactive content planning arm and execution arm of that. And so I have had the privilege of having Joe Budden come through for an event, cool. Paul Millsap, Work Done, for the younger generation, Jack on TikTok, got to meet him a couple days ago, an LCS we had. He's the one that everybody was trying to kick out of Atlanta. He does a lot of the Beltline content. Hood Anchor Yay is another individual here local to Atlanta, Travis Porter. They came through at our last LCS. Tusi, who is... I wouldn't say up and coming. He's an established rapper, but he brings a lot of energy. He was really cool to hang out with. So just getting to hang out with a lot of our partners and see people who you would never think are a fan of PrizePicks walk through those doors, make a lineup, and then just go crazy right when it hits. So that's been a really cool experience to be able to build and grow that new initiative, and get connected with some really cool people that are a lot more successful than me.
Yeah, no, you guys are killing it. It's I love seeing from when I was there, from building an experience online to building an experience offline and in the office. It's not really an office; it's really a bar vibe. Yeah, it's awesome. So that was the pod. Is there anything that you could leave maybe someone going into social media or an intern? Any advice?
Yes. I think, you got to reach out. I think networking is so important. I keep in contact with all of you guys. I love to see you guys succeed. I grew up always being told your success is measured by the success of those that you keep around you.
For sure.
That obviously is hard to do if you don't talk to anybody, you don't reach out, you don't, send that LinkedIn note. There's plenty of people that have popped into my inbox just on a whim because they saw my last name or they saw I worked at Ubisoft or PrizePicks, right? And wanted a referral or help. Take the time to also give back when you do make it. I think that's really important because there's a lot of people that look at, other people's success and go, how do I do that? And they never ask that person, how do they do that? So one, stick your neck out, ask the question, send the LinkedIn note, send the email, whatever. Go the extra mile, right? My first big job at Control Freak, I dropped off handwritten thank you notes for my interview.
Wow.
I felt so embarrassed and so lame doing it, but it got me the job.
There you go.
So, look at those types of things, see how you can separate yourself from others. But I think it's really important to one, just network, stick your neck out and, make that connection, or at least try to, because eventually it'll happen, and be ready when it does, because it'll be fun.
Yeah, that's something I like to say is be ready with the portfolio, with the resume. You got to show off your stuff and be proud of it too, which I need to get better at, but that's about it. That's the podcast. Thanks, Luke, for coming on and dropping some awesome knowledge.
Well, thank you so much, Mike. I've enjoyed this. The setup's great. And hopefully, somebody takes a nugget of knowledge and learns. If not, I'll see it on social listening.
Yep. There you go. See you.